How could I forget? When I put my hood on, it's like a switch goes off in my head. I stole that from somewhere. Maybe you can figure it out. Welcome to another horrible, despicable, special Christmas episode of the Apocalypse. The end is nigh. That is why you're watching the Apocalypse. That is why the show is called what it is called. For this time, the end is truly nigh, unlike all the others. There are only two paths, and all must choose. No one is exempt, unfortunately. Path 1. God, Jesus Christ, righteousness, justice, goodness, decency, love of your fellow man to at least the degree of not wanting to persecute him or her. The law. Path 2. The imp, the Antichrist, the apocalypse, Armageddon, plague upon plague, worse than the world has ever seen before. The lake. Choose now. Congratulations! You have chosen the Apocalypse. And since you have unwisely chosen the Apocalypse, you are in urgent need of a guide. Unfortunately for me, I happen to be that guide, your humble guide, Nicholas. Does Donnie not exemplify the Christmas spirit? You know, Donnie, the one who's always spreading love and good cheer. Especially on Christmas, right, Rubes? Unfortunately not. Unfortunately, the direct opposite is what is true. Donnie does not let even a holiday go by without spouting some hideous abomination. It's like a compulsion. That is why he is the perfect candidate for the Antichrist. One of the many reasons. But before we get to that, let's get to nuclear deals between Russia and their bitch, Donnie Krasnov. And of course there is a major grift involved. There always is with Donnie Krasnov. The United States is discussing the possibility of jointly managing the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant without Ukraine's involvement, Putin said. He claimed that the U.S. is interested in using the plant for cryptocurrency mining. Greed has gotten us to the point where they're firing up 3 Mile goddamn island. And this, whatever the fuck it is, Zaporizhzhia, to mine crypto! I didn't plan to yell like that. I just thought about it. That's why there's going to be goddamn nuclear fallout over New Jersey so Bill Gates can run an AI data center? Probably mining crypto too, for all I fucking know. Maybe that's what the centers are doing as well. Maybe have an accident at this plant to mine fucking crypto. Making a deal with Russia directly over a disputed asset by the fucking way to mine fucking crypto. Your boy has been Russia's bitch since the 80s. That's indisputable. And he proves it by the second. And again, I'm waiting to wake up for on the day and hear, they found a bunch of dead Russian soldiers with American weapons. Or American-bought weapons. Or maybe Donnie Krasnov will just give Vlad some troops and fight Ukraine directly. You think I'm goddamn kidding, son? I am not. Your boy's a traitor, a Russian asset, because they had compromat on him and he needed money. You knew this. I used to say back in 2016, very shortly after his win, if you vote for him or you voted for him, or if you're down with this, you're a traitor by proxy. Do you understand that? My God, 1,000-fold now. He's nakedly just showing it, and it's going to get more blatant. Again, the facade will always drop further and further. At the same time, Putin said that electricity supplies to Ukraine are also being considered at Washington's initiative. Yeah, I'm sure that's the real main concern. Not mining crypto for the Trump family. Right? Of course, Putin will take his cut. He always does, son, doesn't he? He the head mobster of the earth. Until Donnie snaps the fucking leash. Putin added that Ukrainian specialists continue to work at the plant but now hold Russian passports. So it's a seized territory by Russia. It's really Ukraine's territory. It's really Ukraine's plan. Vlad, also known as Hitler, seized it, made it Russian, made the citizens Russian. And is now making a deal directly with Donnie Krasnov to mine crypto with a nuke plant. The most massive bribe to the Trump family in the entire history, offering Trump a nuclear power plant that Russians stole from Ukraine to mine crypto. That's Jay in Kiev. He's from there, son. He's there. So he knows what he's talking about regarding this. Yeah, that's what's going on. And we're supposed to be allies with Ukraine. Jerk-offs out there. We made a deal with them back in the day, and they were stupid for making it. Never trust America, son, ever. Give up your nukes for America for whatever reason. I don't know why America wanted to help Vlad at that moment for whatever fucking reason. I don't know. And we'll protect you. Don't worry, guys. Look where we at now, son. Russian asset in the White House. Has all but sold weapons to Vlad and given him troops directly. Is now making direct deals, lifting sanctions on all kind of nefarious Russian entities. Because Donnie's a Russian asset, son. Donnie Krasnov. Unfucking believable. Again, we're supposed to be Ukraine's ally. In a just world. So your boy's a traitor. He's been a Russian asset since the 80s. That's fucking obvious. And you are a traitor by proxy for having supported him, voted for him, whatever, lest you turn away. That's not even counting the soul and spiritual stuff. That's just the loss of your country via your stupidity, via your football game, politics mentality. That's just the beginning of sorrows, the loss of America. Small potatoes, the loss of the empire, in comparison to what it will happen to so many of you, and the suffering many of us will go through that are not in your cult. But don't worry, you'll get a nice full piece of the pie at the end when all the plagues come, for you specifically. For taking the mark, for following the Antichrist. One more thing about the crypto thing. I learned a long time ago, because I looked into it a long time ago when it first was really starting to be talked about. I looked at it, okay, here's some computer nerds again that want money for nothing, which is basically what it is. What it was at first. Then it became like a currency, and it's become much more mainstream. What was it invented for? Let's be honest, black market deals. Untraceable. That's what it was invented for. I never liked it. I always had a bad feeling about it. I looked into it. How does it work? People mine for it. Now you can just outright buy crypto. Invest in crypto. But if you want crypto for kind of free, but not really, mining is all you got. Crypto mine rigs use a shit ton of electricity. So these cunts that have entire buildings full of that are just crypto mining, you don't even want to know the resources they are using. They generate enormous heat, so they need to be cooled constantly, just like the AI data centers and servers and all that. Need to be cooled constantly, just like a nuclear power plant does. Uses millions of gallons of water, a nuke plant. That's what the AI data centers and crypto mining warehouses remind me of. The crypto mining warehouses, one of which the Trump showed us, Eric Trump showed, I believe. I looked at it, I was just horrified. I'm like, my God, the electricity that must use an entire warehouse of crypto mining rigs going at the same time. If you're wondering why electricity bills have gone up so much, that's one of the reasons. People mining crypto, I guarantee it. And rich people that have a warehouse for mining crypto, I guarantee you're sharing that load by increased demand. Now we've added AI data centers on top of it. First we had the nuke plants and other things that need to be cooled that use millions of gallons of water. No, I don't believe that water is returned to the environment in a safe, healthy condition. I don't believe that for one goddamn second. So I want to remind you that the Trumps have at least one warehouse that I know of, probably many more than that. Now they're going to have a nuke plant to power a fucking crypto mining operation, for fuck's sake. In league with Vlad. Directly. I want to remind you how much power and resources these operations use. Again, if you're wondering why your electric bills have gone up across this nation, AI data centers, crypto mining, massive amounts of electricity. Some of those data centers more than large cities' sun. That's ab-fucking-surd. And there's absolutely no need for it. But this desire of subjugation and dominance by a few oligarchs that each have their own AI, their own data centers, etc. No one else benefits, son. In fact, we all suffer. I could explain at least 3 different ways AI has fucked me over. Immensely. So we're doing this whole experiment because a part of the oligarchy, the tech bros, the major oligarchs, they want to take us to some oligarch utopia where AI subjugates us, polices us, makes all of our lives fucking miserable, collects every piece of fucking data it can on us, global surveillance systems via Palantir and those wonderful cunts destined for the lake, cokeheads and shit. All for that. It's not going to benefit humanity in any way. It's just going to take millions of more jobs. People will not have income. That's great because they got a camp you can work at. That's the plan. But the real point I wanted to make before I move on to these next 2 things is the immense amount of electricity those fucking crypto mining operations, especially you have a fucking warehouse like cunt Eric Trump, full of crypto mining rigs. Again, add the data centers. And when you look at your electric bill, that's directly the cause. You know, these operations that are using amounts of electricity, we see buildings in sci-fi movies that were supposed to be, 100, 200 years in the future. I'm not kidding. That's the scale. We're just unimaginable scale to match the greed of the person fucking behind it. In other words, we're reaching unsustainable scales of power consumption and resource consumption via these horror shows like AI data centers and, warehouses full of crypto mining rigs and shit. Once again, it's the oligarch class sharing the fucking load with all of us. I'm really tired of that concept. If you want to come to the socialists for something, you cunts up at the top that are all about pull yourself up by the bootstraps. That's what you tell us, you lying ass fucking communists. If you want to loan a $500 million because you don't want to touch your $6 billion in the fucking bank, you want to leave it in your fucking portfolio, you greedy, worthless fucking cunt. Then you share the profits made with that investment from the socialists that you came to with your worthless goddamn handout. If we can socialize the building of the company, we can socialize the profits, the treasure the company produces. Cunts. Welfare fucking queens with portfolios larger than God's. Again, you want to come to the socialists? You like socialism? You don't want to touch your fucking portfolio? Okay, we all get a check from that company, everybody over 18. I don't care if it's $1 a month once it's split amongst the population. You come to the socialists, you share the fucking profits with the socialists. If all the companies that came with their bitch-ass handout, because the people that own it don't want to touch their fucking portfolios, that's just the rule. That's what rich people do. You don't use your own money. That's for the fucking portfolio. That's for the empire. Okay, you want to come to the socialists, you worthless cunts. Then all your businesses that are funded by $1 billion, $50 billion, $500 million from the fucking socialist taxpayer. We want checks now. No, you don't like that? Because when we go get a loan, there's a price to pay. Interest, all kind of great shit. They'd rather die than do that. That'd be the honest way to do thing, right, cunts? Everyone knows it would be, despite their fucking programming, their fucking brainwashing, where they look around and all they've seen is fucking socialist capitalism, where the only socializing goes to the fucking rich. That's just the way the world is. That's just how it works. No, it isn't, asshole. That's what you tolerate. And that's the slogans you preach, given to you by those very people. That's how stupid you fucking are. All of us should be saying, any rich cunt oligarch that comes to the socialists, the federal government, after they pay $500 million of that money to fucking fight against the socialists. So many rich, greedy cunts with their hands out because they don't want to touch their portfolio. Fine. Let's go all the way with the socialism. The general populace who you came to, the socialists, with your goddamn hand out. Despite the fact you're filthy goddamn rich. We get checks. We get a percentage of the profits when they come in. Why? Because without our money, you'd be nothing. That's why. And again, if we want to make the building of the company communal, if you want to make the financing of the company communal, you fucking hypocrite welfare queens, then let's make the back end, when the profits start rolling in, let's make them communal. No? Okay, don't come for the loan then. Use your own money. Like you tell us. Let me move on. I didn't even mean to talk about all that, man. Well, again, Donnie displaying the Christmas spirit as president of the United States. You know, you would think even the Antichrist, even just an abominable, miserable, evil, spawn of Satan, even they would understand what the act requires. The act of being president. You're putting an act on. There's a certain level of decorum you're supposed to maintain. Before Donnie. Donnie's standard practice is on solemn occasions, holidays, moments like 9/11. He'll be boasting that now he's got the tallest building in New York, shit like that. So Donnie's standard practice is on solemn occasions, after people die, holidays, to say some abominable thing born of Satan. That's standard for Donnie. But you'd think the Antichrist or a president, someone who managed to claw their way to that position, would understand at least the act requires that on Christmas, you're not calling people sleazebags in front of billions on social media. Maybe as well, if you were, one of the most prolific pedophiles, best friend to Jeff Epstein, maybe you wouldn't be bringing up Jeff Epstein at all, let alone on Christmas. Just a thought. You know what else you might not do? Just for one day. Even if you're a total fucking evil piece of shit, warmonger, Antichrist, maybe on Christmas you don't bomb nobody. You think? Like I said, just a certain level of decorum. A minimum, if you will. But I told you, Donnie's a beast and he's uncontrollable, and this is what the Antichrist is at his core, his essence, an uncontrollable, unmanageable beast. He can't even control his own behavior, just like a child. And his go-to at any given minute of the day is cruelty, evil, insults, lies, projection, murder. Because we keep hearing about bombings here, bombings there across the world for the past 8-9 months. And everyone that gets bombed gets labeled a terrorist. We get hardly any details. These people, they could have been fucking monks for all we fucking know. That were eliminated. Maybe they want resources in the area. I don't know. Maybe they want to take over the Suez, like Stephen Miller said. Maybe they want minerals, certain natural resources that certain areas like, I don't know, Nigeria has. Donnie's mentioned Nigeria a few times lately. Amidst his mass murder tour down in Venezuela in the Caribbean, about to attack them, probably shoot some missiles, kill a bunch of people, steal their oil, already stole 2 tankers. Time to move on to Nigeria. I told you, he's the Antichrist. I told you he would use the military all over the place. Way back. Before it was fashionable, as Donnie says in one of these posts. And I said it definitely. Mass murder in the Caribbean. Stole 2 oil tankers already, straight up. You could say annexation. Donnie wants the rest. The leader of the country offered him a cut of the oil cartel down there. Donnie said, fuck you. That means he wants it all. Over 100 bodies, mass murder, 2 tankers seized. So why not, before we even, or not we, the Reich steals Venezuela's oil, they already stole some, millions of gallons actually. Why not hop on over to Nigeria on Christmas Day? I told you he's the Antichrist, right? At least he's brave enough to say this now. Tonight at my direction as Commander-in-Chief, so he's taking responsibility just like he took responsibility. Remember, it said at his direction. That September whatever strike where they killed 2 survivors, remember that? Everybody glosses over that. They pretend it didn't happen. Once again, Donnie's proud to take credit in the beginning. Once it's scrutinized and people discover the war crimes, though, then Donnie had nothing to do with it. He wasn't in the room. He didn't post that he at his direction that day all of a sudden. And Pete wasn't in the room. So if we find war crimes with this, I assume we'll get the same story. Donnie had nothing to do with it, even though he said it my direction in front of billions on social media. Again. And I guess Pete will say he left for a meeting. Tonight at my direction, Christmas Day, the President of the United States, I present to you. Tonight at my direction as Commander-in-Chief, the United States launched a powerful and deadly strike against ISIS terrorist scum in northwest Nigeria. Okay, that's not evidence. That's a title he gave it. That's what I'm talking about. In northwest Nigeria, who have been targeting and viciously killing primarily innocent Christians. Donnie's the protector of Christianity. That's believable, right, Rubes? At levels not seen for many years and even centuries, I have previously warned these terrorists that if they did not stop the slaughtering of Christians, there would be hell to pay. And tonight there was. What in the future agenda, Rubes? I want you to think about this. Why is he so focused on coming off? Because you know it ain't true, son. Why is he so focused on coming off as the protector of Christianity and the protector of Judaism since day one in January? Again, one of the first things he did, locked up Muslim dissident types in college on a visa that wrote critically of Israel. Lock them up, son. What I'm asking you, little children, why does he need your confidence to this degree? Because Donnie is a confidence man and not a smart one. Why does he need your two communities? It ain't for the presidency. He's never leaving. He doesn't need you for that anymore. What future agenda? Why does he need you two communities? He's already president again. He doesn't need your fucking vote, son. Yet he's still doing this act. Why does he need your two communities' trust so much? Think about that. The Department of War executed numerous perfect strikes as only the United States is capable of doing. Under my leadership, our country will not allow radical Islamic terrorism to prosper. May God bless our military. A Merry Christmas to all, including the dead terrorists, of which there will be many more if their slaughter of Christians continues. So we've got two pieces of information. Terrorists and Christians slaughtered. That's it. No evidence whatsoever. This is what I'm talking about. Same thing down in the Caribbean. Have you seen 1 kilo of fucking cocaine yet? I have not. Look, Nigeria has been mentioned a bunch of times. Why? Because they have oil, minerals, diamonds, all kinds of good stuff that plenty of greedy cunts want that have given money to Donnie. Donnie is on the Hitler annexation tour. He will go around the world and he will take what he wants. He's already done it. I told you he would. I told you back in the beginning of January, when all the annexation talk and all this talk was going on, that was dead serious. I told you before the election, Donnie would have the biggest hammer ever known to mankind. Once the annexation talk started, I mean, I knew 10 years ago, but the proof, the annexation talk, and he had the military to achieve it, that's when all the world isn't taking seriously. They should be now that they've seen the Reich take 2 oil tankers from Venezuela. I understood it. I think so many out there did not understand. Entire countries of people. Donnie has the hammer big enough to take Greenland, to take Canada, to take Mexico, to take Venezuela, to take the Suez, the Panama, to take the Holy Land, son. Nothing can touch it. So because of the story, my feelings, the past 10 years, the annexation talk outright by the Reich, I knew they were dead serious. They weren't kidding. They want Canada. Donnie talked about Greenland and several other places. We're going to get it, but, you know, whatever it takes. That's a sociopath telling you, yeah, I'm willing to kill people for it. Use the military. And who's going to stop me? Nobody. You have a mobster who's been looking for this grift since the 80s, and you've given it to him the second time. I knew once he got it the second time, it would be seize the day, seize our moment, this is our moment, and we're going to go for it all, and that means the entire world. That's why I said it back then, that it's going to happen. So again, I know I've said all these things before. Greenland, Canada, Mexico, all of you, he gonna try and take it. And you know he has the military to be able to take it. So be prepared, especially Greenland. The point of this I'm saying he's the Antichrist. He's boasting of a bombing in Nigeria simply for natural resources. That's all this is for. It ain't to save Christians, son. He's fucking born of the devil. He could give a fuck about Christians or Christianity. In fact, he hates it. Doesn't have regard for any God. That's how he's described. So why is he doing this act for you people? Again, he don't need your vote no more. I keep saying to you people, I've said so many times over this 10 years about the rock star thing, about this. I keep waiting to wake up and hopefully to see something that says you're wrong. This is going a different path than you thought it would. It's not what you thought it was. Then late in the day, middle of the day, on Christmas, the big announcement is, you know, the right killed some people in Nigeria because they want natural resources there. That's after killing over 100 in the Caribbean and stealing 2 oil tankers, natural resources from Venezuela. Yeah, he's Hitler. He's the Antichrist. You're in it, man. I ain't trying to ruin your Christmas. I'm just trying to be honest. And you people know me. If you wanted to have a happy Christmas, you shouldn't have tuned into this shit. So, announcement 1, big one, because Donnie posts, you know, like 90 times an hour. The right killed some people on Christmas at Donnie's direction for natural resources in Nigeria. I was rather surprised at this one. If there was ever a perfect clinical study for psychiatry students, for psychological students, psychology students, of an entity that purely projects what they are on a routine basis, Donnie is the perfect example. Was Donnie looking in the mirror when he wrote this? Because once again, for the 10 millionth time, all the insults he's hurling at other people are literally all true about him, if not worse. So I assume this came out after the Nigeria post, because I saw it later. And I had just gone to Twitter for a second, just to look real quick. I wasn't even... And of course, this. Again, a Donnie post that looks like this. Thesis on Christmas. Let's see what it's about. Is it Donnie spreading love and good cheer, wishing us all a Merry Christmas, that he loves America and loves all Americans? No, that's not what it is. And again, you would think this is the one guy on earth. He wants the subject to die. He says it out loud. And on Christmas, he brings it up and writes a whole fucking thesis about it. When it's obvious to all of us, he was a major part of that world. Astounding. It shows that it's weighing on his mind. It's fucking with his groove. It's fucking with his composure on the grift and everything he's doing. It bothers him. This is the irony of this. Again, the pure projection. Let's go. Merry Christmas to all, including the many sleazebags who love Jeffrey Epstein. Before I continue, it's been pretty much verified that Donnie was Jeff Epstein's best fucking friend. The sleazebags who love Jeffrey Epstein. I got to read that letter, that birthday letter that Donnie wrote with the naked young girl's body around it. Did he write that he loves Jeff in that letter? Or I love you or anything like that? This is just incredible. Including the many sleazebags who loved Jeffrey Epstein. Donnie was his best friend. Gave him bundles of money. I'm sure Donnie threw him some cash. Went to his island. I'm sure if Donnie didn't go to the island, he went everywhere else. And I don't believe he didn't go to the island either. Attended his parties. Well, there's footage of Donnie and Epstein partying at Mar-a-Lago, so... And thought he was the greatest guy on earth. There's actual quotes by Donnie, I think one's from Howard Stern. There's other quotes about Donnie saying Epstein's a terrific guy. And Donnie was his best friend. Again, that's not an exaggeration. They weren't acquaintances, son. They were all about each other. Even though Epstein knew he was a monster, because no one really wants Donnie around, let's be honest. And thought he was the greatest guy on earth, only to drop him like a dog. That's in quotes. That's literally what Donnie did. Once all of you started throwing the Epstein stuff at him in 2015, 2016, a lot of evidence came out. You swept it all right under the rug and kept talking about Hillary and Pizzagate, right? I know. It's going to cost you everything. So Donnie's the one that also dropped him like a dog once the heat was on, and then all of a sudden they arrest him, and then all of a sudden he's dead. When things got too hot, Donnie's telling his life story here. This is literally him. Falsely claimed they had nothing to do with him. That's Donnie every 3 seconds. Didn't know him. That's Donnie. Said he was a disgust. That's Donnie. And then blame, of course, President Donald J. Trump, who was actually the one who did drop Epstein. Donnie is spelled whack wrong. Just letting you know. No, he didn't. He was still hanging with him after he was saying he dropped him. We just got that evidence recently. There was other evidence that proved that as well before that had come out. Who was actually the one who did drop Epstein, and long before it became fashionable to do so. Well, the only person who really became fashionable to drop Epstein was literally Donnie Shitbags. No one else. When their names get brought out in the ongoing radical left witch hunt, plus one lowlife Republican Massey, and it is revealed that they are Democrats all, there will be a lot of explaining to do, much like there was when it was made public that the Russia hoax was a fictitious story, a total scam, and had nothing to do with Trump. Well, Rubes, let's do a little equation here. Donnie's literally describing himself in regards to Epstein up here in the top, but he's saying other people did it and not him. He's the good guy. We all know that's a lie. That's not true. Donnie's saying the opposite of reality. In fact, he's projecting his literal story with Epstein onto other people. Again, one of the most obvious clinical, perfect examples of psychological projection of what you are onto other people in your critique of them. Never seen a clearer, better example. And he's been like this again for 10 years. We've seen this. This is one of the worst ones I've seen. It's like Donnie's having an argument with himself or insulting himself. But he's projecting it onto everyone else. The exact details. So, if that's our equation, he's saying the opposite of reality. Regarding the Epstein information he's writing about here, Donnie's projecting what he actually is and has done onto others. Now we have another situation down here towards the bottom, the Russia hoax. Donnie's stating he had nothing to do with it. If our equation from the top regarding Epstein applies to this as well, or if we apply it, well, then Donnie must be lying and the opposite of what he's saying must be true. He's also a pathological liar. He can't control that either. That's how I know it's an actual syndrome with him. If you can't control it. Donnie's a criminal as well in many different ways, in many different areas. So again, if we use our equation on this other situation that Donnie's, feigning his innocence, then I guess the Russia thing is true too, huh? Yeah. Russia hoax was a fictitious story, a total scam, and had nothing to do with Trump. Trump's in quotes for some reason and in all caps. The failing New York Times, among many others, was forced to apologize for their bad and faulty election reporting, even to the point of losing many subscribers due to their highly inaccurate fake coverage. Now the same losers are at it again, only this time so many of their friends, mostly innocent, will be badly hurt and reputationally tarnished. But sadly, that's the way it is in the world of corrupt Democrat politics. Enjoy what may be your last Merry Christmas, President Donald Trump. A little threat in there at the end, huh? It sounds to me like there's a plan behind these two statements to arrest some people. And Donnie's pretty much stating it outright. This might be your last Merry Christmas. Again, this is Christmas 1. There's a minimum decorum expected with presidents and dignitaries of Donnie's position, which he does not deserve and does not belong in, my God. On Christmas, you do the obligatory Happy Holidays, Merry Christmas, all that. You don't call people sleazebags. You don't bring up Jeff Epstein as president in posts. You don't make threats against, I don't know, who's he talking about here? World of corrupt Democrat politics. So Democrats, political leaders in the Democratic Party, enjoy what may be your last Merry Christmas. So I'll take that as Donnie loves to give the game away. Donnie loves to make threats. He's a very basic mobster. Very cliche one. I'll assume the arrests are coming next year. That would make sense. Because the midterms are next year, I believe. Remember, there's some special force military force that Pete's involved with that he wants ready by April of next year. The midterms are in November, I believe, of next year. Everyone and the kitchen sink knows the Republicans are about to take an ass whooping in the midterms because, again, son, fascism Antichrist, the devil, he's not very popular. That whole idea, that whole thing, Nazism, fascism, subjugation, it's just not very popular. So what's going to happen in the midterms? They're going to lose badly, and they know it, and everyone knows it. They can't let that happen. They can't have impeachments going on for a year and a half. They can't have the stall of a Democratic majority in the Senate and the House stopping everything. Because the entire agenda of the Reich is pure evil. And again, I hope your name isn't on it, son. I'd get it off if I were you. So the Democrats have tried to stop everything, and rightly so, because the plan again is subjugation of you. If the mass men kidnapping anyone they feel like, including American citizens, don't convince you, if your own military deployed against you don't convince you where this is all going, I don't know what will. The Democrats in government, though, some of them see what's going on, and what they would do is vote against every damn thing the Reich wants to do, because it's all born of the devil's son anyway. Donnie can't have that. The Reich can't have that in the middle of a 2-year or 4-year term. So I'm going to assume, just based on that last line, may be your last Merry Christmas. I assume the plan, more confirmation for me that the arrests or the elections will all be overturned, and then that will require arrests because people will protest, and rightly so. Will happen before the midterms next year, because they can't have a landslide defeat in the Senate and the House. The point of this video, I say he's the Antichrist. I say I want to wake up and see something. You'd think on Christmas, again, at the very least, even if he was the Antichrist, even if he was, purely born of Satan, he would at least do the act. Nope. What we all forget. He's the beast. There's a fucking reason that word, that title is used. The reason that description was given is to point out the uncontrollable nature. For when we hear the word beast, that's directly what comes to most of our minds, I would assume. Oh, a beast, well, that's something, savage, uncontrollable. That's why the word was used. That's why you've seen an infinity of bridges burned by this entity. That's why you see the out of control, just fucking chaos of evil that he is in his daily life. He pulled a woman into a dressing room in a department store and raped her son. Uncontrollable beast. Just like Adolf Hitler was. I've given the speech before. I just can picture the various oligarchs and major players across the world that all thought they had Hitler in their fucking back pocket. There ain't no one on this planet that had Hitler in their back pocket. Why? He was a beast with the blessing son. At the time. Uncontrollable, savage, pure fucking evil. That's what Donnie is. So especially on Christmas, this uncontrollable animal, given that title by God himself, an animal, a beast. We should expect threats and abominations on Christ's birth even from the protector of Christianity in the last message. Remember? That's why he had to kill people in Nigeria. It ain't for natural resources, Donnie swears. They were terrorists. And you know, the terrorists just happen to be living on a couple diamond mines and you know, minerals and zinc and shit, gold, oil. But that has nothing to do. They were persecuting the Christians. Give me a fucking break, man. So in the last post, the reason we had to kill people was because we're Christian and Christians were being persecuted by these evil Nigerians. So that's why we had to murder a bunch of people and drop bombs on Christmas fucking Day. It has nothing to do with the natural resources. We're the protectors of Christianity. Right, Rubes? What, there ain't no Christians around that Ukrainian fucking nuke plant that they can lie about, that they're trying to save, and that's why they got to start a crypto mine attached to it? Making threats of arresting prominent political figures. Your last Merry Christmas on Christmas, he says this. He talks about protecting Christians being persecuted as a justification for murder in Nigeria. But it's really about natural resources. He could give a fuck about Christianity. Obviously, by what I just read you, right, son? I would say so. And he points the finger at these anonymous hypothetical figures that were best buds with Epstein and then dropped him like a hot potato. And coincidentally, that exact situation that Donnie describes in his thesis on Christmas fucking Day as the president is Donnie's exact experience with Epstein. Once it got hot, oh, I wasn't friends with him, even though, you know, like the next weekend he'd be hanging out at a restaurant with him or something. So let me put this very bluntly. On Christmas Day, the Reich and the Antichrist decide to murder a bunch of people in Nigeria, the next place the Reich wants to steal natural resources from. They've already begun in Venezuela, and they already have a pile of bodies over 100 high. And they lie that the justification, they use God, they use Christianity as the justification for their pursuit of wealth in other nations by stealing their resources via the American fucking military. You are the hand of the Reich now. Congratulations. So again, not only the murder, not only the agenda of stealing natural resources from these very poor countries in comparison to the US empire. Then we get the lies about God, Christianity, and giving a fuck about Christianity or Christians as a justification, using God again and Christianity as the justification to kill people for resources, because that's the real agenda. That's one major thing the Antichrist did on Christmas today. The other thing he did is project his entire literal experience with Jeff Epstein. Projected that onto other people, when every single word of it applies directly to him, because he has a psychological condition where he does this all the time. A pedophile who was best friends with Jeff Epstein said all this, pointing the finger at others on Christmas Day, brought up the name Jeff Epstein, as if he had nothing to do with it. A lie on Christmas before the whole world to cover his what class? Pedophilia. And the fact he was best friends with the most prolific sex trafficker of the modern age. Who conveniently died on his watch. Then he lies about his ties to Russia, which we all know are there. My God, again, he rolled out the red carpet. He had your military, son, that you pay for, roll out carpet red for Vlad Putin on American soil, son. That's a goddamn traitor. So Donny Krasnov, again on Christmas, also lies about his connections to Russia, insults a newspaper, and at the very end, for what he has written, the gospel he has spread on Christmas Day of evil and Satan, and the deeds he has done, murder in Nigeria. Just out of nowhere. We're not at war with fucking Nigeria. Oh, that's right, they're terrorists. I forgot. After all of it, the cherry on top is the threat at the end. May be your last Merry Christmas. He's talking directly to Democrats with that. A threat that he will do things to people of the other political party before next Christmas. This is how the Antichrist president spent his Christmas Day. He couldn't even control himself, for he is the beast enough to just do the act, son. And we see this holiday after holiday. It's a big game to him. Again, he's a beast who cannot control himself. And this is one of the very specific criteria of the Antichrist. Constant abominations and blasphemies coming out the mouth. The way it's described, you might walk away with a sense after you read it that it's somewhat unnatural. In other words, he will stand out because he does it so often. It's a defining characteristic of his personality. Who has ever exemplified that like Donnie Shitbags, my God. Just constant abominations and blasphemies. Especially once he got the keys back, my God, it's on steroids. It was bad the first term and the 4 years he wasn't president even. Now again, it's on a whole new level. So I've just described to you, and again, the cherry on top is I'm about to, ruin some people's next Christmas in the opposite political party. And we all know what that means. Arrest, murder, whatever. I expect it one day to wake up again. It'll be done, in the late of night. I assume. Bunch of liberals get arrested, locked up, like Jones and Cerno and all them been preaching for so many years. First they said the liberals were going to do it to you for years and years, remember? Then they preached the gospel of you doing it to the liberals, locking them up, executing them. So the first gospel was a lie. It was the white supremacist, the right-wing pseudo-Nazi party since 1945 who always had that plan, who hated democracy, who would rather subjugation and give all the money to the rich. They've been looking for that again since way back, that political party. Amazing how the gospel changed from the liberals are going to do it to you to let's do it to them. And now you're doing it to them. You've been doing it for a while. So once again, you were the movement. You were the finger you were pointing. You are the pedophile protectors, obviously. You've always been. But again, I don't want to go on a whole rant about that. The real point of this video was simply this. I wanted to show you a small slice of how the Antichrist is spending his day and why I call him the Antichrist. My God, what I've just described to you and read to you on Christmas by the president. Again, an uncontrollable beast that can't even do the act for 24 fucking hours just on Christmas Day. Just do the presidential thing, man. Fucking stand in front of the tree, take a photograph, or maybe address the nation in front of the tree for 30 seconds. Say Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and go about your day, dude. We're dealing with an entity that can't handle that simple task. That comes instinctively to any presidential candidate that, wins office. You know what to do on Christmas. You wish the nation a Merry Christmas, maybe give a little quick speech, maybe not, whatever. And you enjoy your day. Not the Antichrist. Oh, let's go bomb Nigeria. There's a couple diamond mines I want over there. Oh, let me write a thesis about Jeff Epstein and how other people are friends with him and I'm not. And then I'll, with the big finish, I'll end off with, I'm going to lock some people up. I'm going to ruin some people's Christmas next time. This will be your last one. Can't control himself. Pure evil. So again, I woke up another day hoping to see something that showed me I'm wrong. Instead, we get another day of abominations, blasphemies, lies, evil, murder on Christmas, not just a regular day. A day that we're all supposed to at least pretend like we give a shit about each other and we care about each other and all that as a species. He can't even do the act. What does the Antichrist do instead? He boasts of more mass murder in a country he wants to steal resources from. It's that fucking simple. And he takes responsibility at his direction. Now, when the investigations in The Hague happen, he won't then. So again, class, when I say Antichrist, always remember one, I'm the guy looking to be proven wrong. And I mean that when I say that. I'm not just saying that for fun either. Because I know the consequences of being right. What we see before us. An evil animal. Even God calls him an animal. Who's taking us all to the abyss, thanks to those that enabled this. And there's something else, this Epstein thesis that ends with a threat should tell us we're fucking doomed. Again, another reminder. There ain't nothing good in this, son. And again, just on Christmas. And again, the subject, he wants to die so badly, so strongly. The Epstein thing, he writes a whole thesis about it. Pure projection, a fucking novice, fucking high school senior psychology student can see the projection in this, son. So I don't know, maybe these two posts will help you. And the nuke plant thing for crypto mining. Maybe these things will help you see that what you're dealing with is an animal born of the devil that's taking us all straight to the fucking abyss. And yes, son, again, it doesn't matter if you agree or believe it, or I like it, or you like it, or we don't like it, or we got problems with God, or we got a problem with this section of scripture, or whatever. Meaningless! All that matters, or all that's our reality, we are in the time of the goddamn Antichrist, son. Do you understand that? I suggest you proceed accordingly. If your name's on it, take it the fuck off. Don't take the mark when that comes, because that's a coming, son, guaranteed, inevitable, from what I've seen. And Merry Christmas.